a half length. Zach Manelli second.
Welcome to Greyhound Gossip.
Peaky Blinders start cheering for Tommy Shelby wins the WA Sprint Championship final.
Featuring Peter O'Neill and Leia Ernest.
Mozza moves up to Mermaid Manelli. Fab's Gem 3 deep. Here comes Fab's Gem.
Hard Style Rico by 5 lengths to Simon's Old Helen. Third Tommy Shelby.
This segment is dedicated to the discussion and promotion of greyhound racing.
Cindy's Oliver, Rockstar Patriot, Paul Stewart, back-to-back with Rockstar Patriot in the Galaxy.
Handsome Prince, a bolder clear. The former Tasmanian Handsome Prince has won the $1 million chase.
Everyone, and welcome along to Greyhound Gossip. No Leia Ernest this morning. Unfortunately, she's unwell, but she'll be back with us again next week, hopefully. We had heats of the Spring Gift on Saturday night at Cannington. Really good program. Of course, the Spring Gift taken out last year by Vice Grip and Tommy Shelby back in 2020. Stargazer splitting the two of them, but some very good greyhounds have won this race, including some Hall of Famers. The box draw has taken place after the heats on Saturday night, and also Tab Touch has the market up. So Granite Song's drawn ones, currently at $13. Electrified in box number 2, the $2.15 favourite. Dandler Blazer, $10. Lentil Manelli in $4.21. Solidified at $4.80. One of 3 runners for Crystal Shinners. Runaway to Mars, who has drawn box number 6 and is currently at $6. West on Odie, $7. And box 8, Hinto, the Derby winner, at $10. So very good program coming up this Saturday night with the final of the Spring Gift. A couple of weeks ago, and it seems only like yesterday that we're across in Melbourne. We enjoyed the hospitalities of the Melbourne Greyhound Racing Association as they held the Nationals, and it was a proud moment for WA, of course, with Sage Tenniel taking out the sprint final. And good news for Sage Tenniel that earlier in the week, or late last week, she was named the Greyhound Run of the Month for her win in the National Sprint, and Greyhound of the Month as well. And from my memory, it's the first WA Greyhound to actually win both awards. So WA Greyhound Racing going very well, and Elite Machine is currently in the top 5 in regards to the current rankings of the Greyhound Clubs Australia rankings up to the end of August, behind Baby JC. So Elite Machine currently in the top 5, which is a great coup as well for WA Greyhound Racing. Speaking of coups, we've got one of the greats of Greyhound Racing in Australia joining us this morning on Greyhound Gossip. He's a man that's been associated with Greyhound Racing for a long period of time, and of course he was the chair of the Melbourne Greyhound Racing Association for over 2 decades. And I'm speaking of Eddie Caruana. Eddie and 2 of his close mates were inducted into the Greyhound Clubs Australia National Hall of Fame a couple of weeks ago, and Eddie has been kind enough to join us this morning. Eddie, Hall of Famer, congratulations and welcome along to Greyhound Gossip here in the West.
Thank you, Peter. Good morning to you all, and congratulations to WA. They seem to have an affinity with racing at the Meadows, don't they, with the Nationals?
They do, yeah.
Success over the years, yeah.
Yeah, and we've won 3 of the last 4. Not that we're boasting at all, Eddie, but it's a good coup for a little state like...
I thought I'd mention that.
Yeah, a little state like Western Australia.
Sorry, mate. I thought you'd like me mentioning that.
Thank you. You must be really proud to be inducted along with Jeff Smokey Dawson and Neil Brown a couple of weeks ago into the Hall of Fame. It's a great acknowledgement for a gentleman like yourself that has been and given so much to the greyhound industry in Australia.
It was a very humbling experience, to be honest, mate. I was totally blown away, and as you say, to be included, with Neil Brown and Jeff Dawson. Jeff Dawson, we know, is legend at Sandown. His father-in-law was chairman there for about 30 years before him, and then so they're really a big part of Sandown Greyhound Racing Club history. Of course, followed by all that Neil has done over the years for greyhound racing, being, as we know, he's a bit of a historian and loves the game. And to be included with that company, I was blown away, to be honest.
You've been involved for many, many years, and I'll go mainly through your career with the MGRA, but you were involved with greyhound racing prior to that, weren't you, when you first joined the board? I think it was back in 1995. Margaret Long, who was the general manager at the time, asked you to go on the board. You'd had greyhounds and race greyhounds prior to that.
Exactly, yes. Mike was on my back to get on the board for quite a while, actually, and we became friends over the years because I was obviously a regular at Olympic Park, and And the time was, I had a young family and all that, and I thought I was very busy with work. But she finally convinced me, and I'm really forever grateful for that, because it's been a great journey, with nearly 28 years, and 21 of them as chairman, which really I thought I'd be doing that job for a couple of years, and of course I've lasted 21 years, which is fantastic, and to see the growth from from Olympic Park, the turmoil we had at the time when we had to vacate Olympic Park after 33 years and spend the next 2 years looking for a new venue and all that, all the uncertainty. And then to get to the Meadows, we had our first race meeting there in February 1999, and to see where we came from back then to what we are now is very, very gratifying. Yeah, very satisfying.
Yeah, it is. And it would have been a fairly traumatic time leaving Olympic Park back in 1996. And while you didn't own Olympic Park, you had a lease there for a long period of time, there was the uncertainty of where you were going to go. How did you make the decision to actually go to what is now the Meadows?
It was a very dark time, actually, Peter, because we, as you say, we had 12 years to go on our lease, and we'd been there since 1962. Technically, when they're building the tunnel, which is now the main tunnel, they actually the only tunnel, sorry. They said the people, the Transurban who were building the tunnel, they wanted to use our site to store all their heavy equipment, and so technically, after they finished the project, we should have been going back to Olympic Park, but we knew that we couldn't get back there because the place was too valuable for greyhound racing. So, but nobody would give us an answer at the time, and luckily we kept persevering and asking questions. And Tom Reynolds, who was the racing minister at the time, God rest his soul, he came up with got us some of the compensation that the Olympic Park Trust had got from Transurban, and from there we were able to make a decision. We knew we had the funds to look for a new place and build a new place, which is now obviously the Meadows.
And you've gone from what was a tip site where you couldn't do anything for the first 25 years to now having a track which is regarded as, if not the best in Australia, one of the best in Australia, and you hold 10 or 11 Group 1 races every year, including the Phoenix, which is now worth in excess of $1.6 million.
Yeah, it's exactly right. We've come a long way, as we've been saying, but not only that, you said it's an ex-tip site. We've been there now, 25 years nearly, so 24 years. So now we can start doing things. We're still got some environmental issues, with the soil reading and all that sort of stuff. But we'll pretty soon we'll be able to develop it further, and it's become a very valuable piece of land. So the future of the MGRA is forever, I think, sealed and delivered, so to speak. Yeah.
You've seen the. You've seen the excitement. You've seen the excitement of West Australians coming across a small group and making a little bit of a noise when we win a national sprint final. The atmosphere back when you first held your Phoenix back in 2021 would have been at another level.
Exactly, man. I love all that. I love you West Australians come over, and I enjoy the time when we come over there. The last time you held the nationals, and I never forget that. The gala night, the theme of the night, the greatest show on earth that Dave Simonetti and his group put together, and I challenged him to do even better when we tasked him the job to do the nationals for us here in Melbourne as the host club, and he delivered in spades. As you know, the Friday night of the awards night was a fantastic night, and Gatsby team, everyone got made an effort to get dressed up and. Had the team on the Roaring 20s, and it was a fantastic night. So,
did you think?
As I said, I love the euphoria of the West Australians. They love winning, and as I said, they've got a love affair with the Meadows, with the Nationals. So, and that's great to see.
What is it like, the Phoenix? I haven't experienced a Phoenix yet, but what is it like from someone who's been in the sport for such a long period of time compared to a normal night where you have Group 1s like your Australian Cup, which would be one of your biggest races? What's the atmosphere like at a Phoenix?
It's totally different. It's more of a carnival experience, Pete, and we'll have to get you down there actually this year, or hopefully. And in the first it was a complete new concept for us, and we were a bit apprehensive at the time how it was going to go, but it's delivered in spades, and the fact that the first two editions of it were won by Wow She's Fast, and they were obviously the slot holders were Sportsbet, who now sponsor greyhound racing in Victoria exclusively, and they had the decking area, the decking area at the Meadows, sort of was full of their guests there, and when of course when she came around the home turn in front, the place erupted. There was the old style of throwing drinks in the air and all that sort of stuff. So it was really a nice atmosphere.
You've got now 10 Group 1s, which I'm jealous of. We have 2 over here in Western Australia. What is the biggest race for you, the race that you love each year at the Meadows? And you've got the Australian Cup. You've got a race which I love in the Top Gun. What would be your favourite race of the year?
Oh, look, always my ambition was to win an Australian Cup from the first time I went to Olympic Park back in 1965. But since then, I still love the Australian Cup, of course, as our flagship race, if you like. But the Top Gun and now the Phoenix are really challenging it as which one is my favourite, to be perfectly honest.
And your wife, Olympia, and the family were there 2 weeks ago for the induction into the Hall of Fame. That must have been really special for you to share that with your family.
But that blew me away because I had no inkling whatsoever. Just quickly, I was given the task of getting Jeff Dawson there because, as you know, Jeff is now 86 years old and he doesn't get out as much. And I was and Jackie from our office said to me, it's your job to make sure Smokey gets there because he's going to be inducted in the Hall of Fame. And I knew that also that Neil Brown was going to be inducted. So that to me that was the thought of myself being in there never entered my mind because it's just not a done thing. With all the years, we've always inducted 1 or maybe 2 people, but never 3. So I never even thought about the whole thing. And then, of course, as I'm making my saying my thank yous and my appreciation, saw the family coming up on stage. That was really something else.
It certainly was. Congratulations. Thanks for spending a little bit of time with us this morning on Greyhound Gossip. A well-deserved honour to be inducted into the Australian Hall of Fame, and we appreciate everything you've done for us over here in Western Australia, and we look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Thanks a lot, Peter. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Good on you. Eddie Caruana, who was inducted into the Australian Greyhound Clubs Australia Hall of Fame 2 weeks ago. Another gentleman who was inducted into the Hall of Fame is our next special guest, and he's been a regular on Greyhound Gossip and on TAB Radio for many, many years, and on radio around Australia, and that is Neil Brown, and he joins us. And it was a shock for you, Brownie, as I say good morning to you, to be named and inducted into the Hall of Fame, because you're behind getting both Smokey Dawson and Eddie Caruana into the Hall of Fame yourself. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Peter. It was a big shock. I think you can probably appreciate what it means to me to have been inducted, having been so close to the process and over the years, and had great delight in identifying people and greyhounds that have aspired to be there and should be there, and this came as out of the blue. So an unbelievably well-kept secret, Peter, and from a lot of people too that didn't know about it. The only one seemingly that didn't was me.
Can I, just before we touch on your great contribution to racing, greyhound racing in Australia, can we just touch on Jeff Dawson, because I know he's a close friend of yours, and Eddie just spoke about him briefly. He was brought onto the board off Sandown back in 1979, and he took over from his father-in-law Henry Harrison, and we over here in Western Australia now see the race named after Henry Harrison and Jeff Dawson, and of course the grandstand and so forth. They're two greats of the sport of greyhound racing in Victoria, and especially at Sandown.
Yes, an iconic figure at Sandown. Jeff, always affectionately known as Smokey to everybody over here, and an incredible period of time to stay in the chair and to oversee so many different developments as Sandown unfolded from his time on. He served a long period of time. And then Henry, who was, larger-than-life figure in greyhound racing here in Victoria, and for Jeff to take over meant a hell of a lot to him, and he just kept contributing. I think a very popular figure Australia-wide. He made sure that anybody that came to Sandown Park felt special and a guest, and that was it was something he was proud about, that we'd put Sandown on the map, and it was a place where people from interstate or anywhere in Victoria loved to race and come and join us, and he made sure everybody was extremely welcome. But oversaw a lot of developments, Jeff, and a tremendous contributor to greyhound racing here in Victoria and Australia-wide. He was a couple of times chairman of the AGRA organisation, which was, of course, is now GCA with the name change. But yes, he was always there to the fort, and applying what he believed to be the best outcomes for both all of the states and for AGRA in general. So, yeah, a tremendous contribution Jeff has made, and he's not in the greatest of health these days, getting on in age at 87, but still bright and sparky about when you have a conversation with him. So, it was tremendous to see him honoured in the way he was.
It certainly was great to see three great men of the sport inducted into the Hall of Fame, and you as well, Brownie, are one of those three, because you've had a long association in the sport. You've spoken to me and our listeners about the history of some of the great races, including the greatest race, the Melbourne Cup, over the years. You've been involved in the media. You've done a lot of media over the time. You've been a historian, and you've got the museum at Sandown named in your honour. What have been some of the highlights for you over the years? And also talk to us about when you took over from Smokey as the chair of Sandown.
I think I always say now that I really feel privileged to have experienced the different eras of greyhound racing here in Victoria. When it was just, I couldn't wait to get in the gate on a Thursday night. The atmosphere was sensational. In the middle of the betting ring with 65 straight-out bookmakers and a couple of other rings interstate, and the concession boys led by Lel Scurra there. And I think a highlight's just been, privileged to see some of the sensational greyhounds race some of the superstars of the sport. Probably my biggest thrill, as it turned out, was when I was training Pete to run second to the great Highly Blessed, never knowing that she was going to become the superstar that she turned out to be. But second in a maiden final up at Bendigo. I reflect now back on what a great thrill it was, and the late Doug Farumi, terrific bloke and a wonderful family that bred and raced Highly Blessed. But, I can remember all sorts of detail, seeing Rapid Journey win at Cannington, in a sensational performance in the national sprint. And just so many great dogs, seeing them a lot race at Sandown, the great Zoom Top, Flying Amy, Liz Reen was an all-time favourite, Bold Trees. I could just keep rattling them off, Pete. So, lots and lots of highlights, and the people that I've met and been privileged to know, and cool friends like Eddie and Jeff, and lots and lots of trainers and people connected with the sport have had a really wonderful time in it. And to take over from Smokey was a big deal for me. I sort of had humble beginnings as a 15-year-old, hanging around the place every Thursday night from that period on, from that time on as a youngster and growing up at Sandown. So to take over as chair in 2017, only the fifth chairman of the club, was a great honour and a privilege, and I take the role extremely seriously. But the media has been fabulous. It was probably something I felt I might like to get involved in, and I got tremendous opportunities from Alan Julian and the late Steve Cairns at RSN gave me a fantastic opportunity there when we went to Sport 927, the old 3UZ, and I was able to, have a pretty free hand of producing my own show and who I wanted to talk to and the topics we wanted to talk about. So, I'll treasure all those moments and getting still not being able to retire as I love talking to Shorty and trying to find a winner every Thursday on Great Grey. So, who knows how long I'll go on for, Pete.
You were the historian of the sport for many, many years, and you would update us in the media all of the winners and the records of the great races. And now a young guy from Tasmania, Brendan Ryan's taking over from you, and I'm sure he'll do a good job. But you must have enjoyed doing that because you did it for so many years.
Yes, it was a sort of a job I'd created. I'd pitched it to the AGRA committee at an annual general meeting, and thought AGRA wasn't getting enough publicity, that our story wasn't out there, and we could possibly do more. And nobody disagreed, but decided, well, you invented it, you can do it. So I happily took on the role, and hopefully, we've developed that over the years, and the recognition that AGRA and our GCA now hold. You can go to our website. It's a very historical place to go and to find out anything you like from the past and present about greyhound racing. And so I'm proud of the development of all that stuff we've been able to do. And Brendan is right into harness. He started on September 1 and already got some press releases up, and he's up and going, and we got him fired up, and he's very enthusiastic and the right person to take over. So I thought it was time for a fresh eyes and a fresh look at that role. And sometimes, Pete, you can do something for too long, and it doesn't enhance the organisation. So I thought the timing was absolutely right, and I know Brendan will do a wonderful job.
I don't think you did it too long at all, and we really appreciate everything that you've done in keeping up the history of the sport over many, many years. Speaking of history, we've seen a change in recent years where we've got these $1 million races like the $1 Million Chase up in New South Wales, and also the Phoenix, which is the stake money there is incredible. But in my opinion, the greatest race is the Melbourne Cup. What is your thoughts of the Nationals? The stake money is not high in comparison with some of the other Group 1 races around Australia, but there seems to still be that passion from within the industry that they want to represent their state.
I'm sure you're right, Peter, and I know yourself and Sharon and everybody that you met and know so well. It's just a great week to catch up with all the participants involved in the sport in different manners. Yourself as a media person and a commentator, but there's administrators and trainers, and it is very unique. And I'm not sure the prize money is of any relevance at all. It's good enough, but it's a race that the trainers aspire to win. Nothing better than representing your state. We've seen it at all levels, footy, cricket, whatever. People aspire to do that, and I think our trainers really get a kick out of being able to say they're Western Australian and celebrate in a manner when they can win it. And the West Aussies have got the sprint by the throat at the moment with 3 out of 4. But I just think it's a unique event that has got to continue on for lots of reasons. But the $1 million races, and these are phenomenal. I didn't think in my lifetime or dream about it we'd see this sort of direction that sport could take. And our traditional races, the Perth Cup, the Melbourne Cup, the Australian Cup, the Golden Easter Egg now in its 30th year, they're always going to hold a place as a very special, long, traditional race. And, the prize money there is fantastic. I mean, it's brilliant as well. Not too many. There's not a lot of greyhounds get the opportunity probably to win $1 million race. The conditions are different at Phoenix in particular. The $1 Million Chase, I think, embraces all of the tracks around New South Wales, and I think I've just got a feeling that it's the sort of race that can really establish itself in the years to come as the way it is. And the Phoenix as well, but in its own unique way. But the Nationals might always be king for me.
Yes, and I loved catching up with you and the family over there last week, and all of the friends from around Australia. Just before we let you go, and we really appreciate your time, and just wanted to congratulate you on being inducted into the Hall of Fame. But it was a shock to you, and also a shock to see your family there, and it must have been really special, as it was for Eddie, to have his family there to share that special moment with last week.
Oh, absolutely. Obviously, my wife, Mandy's well known within the greyhound ranks. She's been beside me for 47 years, and at all the greyhound functions. So she enjoys the company and the people she's met in all the states. But my three children were parked somewhere in the hotel, and I wasn't to know that, and it was fabulous to see them up on stage, and they've been a wonderful support to me in numerous ways, and the girls. And my grandchildren weren't there, but they've been at home and admired my trophy, and are pretty proud of Pop too. So it was terrific, Pete. Yeah, to have the kids, and my son's been a constant support to me in his chosen vocation, which is IT. So he's been a pretty handy asset to have around the place for an old bloke who's not quite up to some of the to speed on the ways of computers and what have you, Pete. So yeah, it was terrific to have him there.
Good on you. Congratulations again, and thanks for joining us and sharing a little bit of the history and your experience in the greyhound racing industry for so many years. Well done, Neil. Thanks for joining us.
Good on you, Pete. Always a pleasure to talk to you, mate.
Good on you. Neil Brown, Hall of Famer, and great to see both Neil and also Jeff Smokey Dawson and Eddie Caruana inducted into the Hall of Fame. That was at the Greyhound of the Year function a couple of weeks ago. We failed to mention last week that the Australian Stud Dog of the Year was Fernando Bale. The Australian Greyhound of the Year was Wow She's Fast, which I think we mentioned, and the Australian Brood Bitch of the Year being Victor Polly. Well done for the Denise Fish Award winner in Amanda Grease as well, and Kelsey Bale for his run in the Ballarat Cup was the Run of the Year. And the Australian Trainer of the Year going to a joint team, Jeff Britton and Angela Langton. That wraps up Greyhound Gossip for this Monday morning. Hopefully you enjoyed the program. We'll be back again next Monday, and of course today we're heading up to Northern once again. The first of 12 races gets underway at 1:47, so we'll be back around about 1:30 to preview the card. We'll take a break, and then Riley Morgan will take you through race day after this.